You know, we heard a lot about Jarh Ta'dil before we left in English.
Yeah.
You know, it was made sound so easy. They just knew two principles. Back then, I don't hear as much now.
Yeah,
But back then we used to hear, alhamdulillah, we used to hear like the principle, al-Jarh al-Muqaddam, al-Jarh al-Mufassar muqaddamun ala al-Ta'dil. You hear that a lot back in
all the time.
The detailed refutation is given precedence over the general praise.
Soundbite. It's just a soundbite.
That is the biggest soundbite I had. You know, when we got to the book, we learned one subject called Zawabid al-Jarh wa Ta'dil. It's like principles in Jarh wa Ta'dil. In one of the chapters, there's two general principles. So al-Jarh al-Muqaddam, al-Jarh al-Mufassal muqaddam ala al-Ta'dil is a general principle. And another general principle is if there is a general praise and a general refutation, the general praise is given precedence because we know him. General refutation ain't going to do the job. That's too general, and no one mentions that second one.
Yeah, no one mentions the second one.
No one cares about that.
No one cares about
that was more applicable.
That was way more applicable in those examples.
Both of them are general. Then underneath them, they mention 20 qawaid, 20 other principles that can change those general principles.
Yeah.
And those
no one even knows.
No one even knows about. I was like, what? Like one of the principles there is the ulama Jarh Ta'dil are 3 levels.
Yeah.
3 types, 3 categories. There's an alim from ulama. All of them ulama. There's one that's mutashaddid. He's severe, very harsh. There's one that's media. He's mu'tadil. He's fair. And there's one that's mutasahil, lenient.
Yeah.
They existed in the Salaf. People that want to apply these things today, they never mention this.
No, that's right.
So they say the severe one, if he does a jarh, he's very severe. If he refutes somebody, does jarh of someone, take it with a pinch of salt, basically. And if the one on the other side, mutasahil, he just praises everybody. So if he praises someone, just take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
And the medium one, generally speaking, he can become mutasahil, mutashaddid, but generally speaking, his qawl is fair.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the one that's mutashaddid, he can, if he praises someone, because he's so mutashaddid, if he praises someone, that must mean
something good.
Something really good.
Yeah.
And if the mutasahil, the one that praises everyone, if he refutes somebody, then he must be really serious. That's why Ibn Hibban is from mutasahilin. When he refutes someone, it's like it's game over.
Yeah.
And from the mutashaddidin, the 2 Yahyas, Yahya ibn Ma'in, Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Qattan, both of them are mutashaddid. So if they say something, you have to look at the other scholars. What did they say? If he's in line with the other scholars, we take it.
Yeah.
If he's gone over and the other scholars were a bit more fair, a bit more, you just notch it down a little bit. But there's so many principles. That's just the first principle. There's so many other principles. One principle is, and this is probably very applicable, you have to make sure that the chain, going back to that scholar that mentioned the jarh or the praise, is authentic. How many times we have rumors that's heard from a sheikh, or he's been told by some guys that are liars, and they've been fed wrong information. His statement is not taken.
Yeah.
If the
chain is incorrect,
the chain is incorrect. His statement that he said, we don't use it.
Yeah.
Number 2, if he's been given wrong information, we don't use it. There's an example of a wrong information where I can't remember who, Ibn Hibban or someone quoted from Imam Bukhari that he said about a rawi, a narrator, that he said about him, taraknah, we left him. And Imam Bukhari, he's very fair, but he's got a lot of wara', meaning when he died, he said, I hope that I meet Allah and have never backbitten anyone. Why? Because even when he was doing the narrations, he would use subtle statements. Instead of saying kadhab, and he was allowed to say that, he would say, taraknah, we've left him alone. Taraknah means this guy is the worst level of lying and the likes, dajjal and the likes. So he was had a lot of wara'. So here he's saying that Imam Bukhari said about this person, taraknah, which is very severe for Bukhari. But then they said Ibn Hibban got it wrong. He misquoted Bukhari. When we go back to Bukhari, he says the full statement is تركناه وهو حي في سنة كذا وكذا.
That's a whole complete sentence.
We left him and he was still alive in the year such and such.
It's nothing to do with Jarh.
It's got nothing to do with Jarh Ta'dil. So now Ibn Hibban or whoever, I think it's maybe Al-Hakim, who quoted him, the copy that they had when they were quoting him must have dropped. The rest of it must have dropped. We're not accusing Hakim. We're just saying the nuskha that he got maybe was incomplete. And so him quoting from Bukhari that this narrator is very weak, do we take Hakim's statement now?
No,
that he quoted is mistake, so we don't take it. Neither Hakim nor Bukhari, because Bukhari never said that. None of these stuff, and there's 20 others that time won't allow, that don't exist. So people pick and choose what suits their agenda when it comes to this knowledge of Jarh Ta'dil. And reality, they've got no clue what it's about. Jarh Ta'dil is used for the books, for the and the ulama, they always differ, and people always argue about this, especially back in the day. Jarh Ta'dil, dead or alive?
Yeah, that became a discussion point back in the day.
But we found that some scholars, this is the best thing that they said, because you find some scholars saying it's dead, some saying it's still alive until the day of judgment. If Dhahabi said it's alive until the day of judgment. So what's the كيف نجمع? The ulama said, look, لا مشاحة في الاصطلاح. There's no big deal when it comes to different terminologies. We look at the reality. If you mean Jarh Ta'dil, refutation and praising, those other scholars that said is dead, they still do that, but they call it something else. They call it الرد على المخالف, refuting the opposer, and they call it ثناء, praise. Sheikh Fawzan says it's dead, and Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen. But Sheikh Fawzan refutes people that make mistakes in maqalat and majallat about the religion of Islam, and he calls it رد على المخالف, and he praises people, and he calls it ثناء. He doesn't call it Jarh Ta'dil.
Or دفاع عن السنة.
Or دفاع عن السنة or the likes. So in the reality, the action, the thing that they do is both the same. But the terminology they differed on. They say that's specific for narrators, and that's it's not a big deal.
I guess the thing is when the du'at of these brothers were applying it, they were picking and cherry picking what they want to use. So they're cherry picking it as in this terminology we can apply it. But then when you used to apply the same terminology, say, well, that shaykh is mutashaddid, we don't take his call until we make. Or you say, for example, that he made a mistake. You're like, okay, are you rejecting the Imam of Jarh Ta'dil? And all of a sudden you're, do you get what I mean? So it was cherry picking as well.
Cherry picking, blind following, a lot of jahl. Like if today Imam Ahmed praised somebody or refuted somebody, we can reject it, we cannot reject it based on qara'in. What did other scholars say? What was his evidence? What was his reasoning? And there are instances. Imam, for example, there's one narrator that I was working on when I was doing my masters. I spent like 2 days on him. And I'll never forget his name.
We'll get to your masters, remind me in case, because I don't want us to run out of time. Go on.
Mahamed ibn Humayd al-Razi. Long discussion about him, but long story short, Imam Ahmed and Yahya ibn Ma'in, if I'm not mistaken, both praised him. And based on what they saw, he was a hafiz, meaning he had a lot of ahadith, and he did seek knowledge, and he did have memorization, and he narrated a lot. But then, so he praised him. Abu Hatim or Abu Zur'a al-Razi used to as well praise him and go to him. But then when they saw that his ahadith, they saw that he was lying in the ahadith. They saw that there was kadhib in his ahadith. And so Abu Zur'a basically went on his case, and he started following his ahadith, and because to protect the sunnah of the Prophet and he found out this guy ittahamahu bil kadhib, he accused him of lying. Him and Muhammad ibn Muslim ibn Wara, both of them, they visited Imam Ahmed in his house. And they said to Imam Ahmed, what do you know about this narrator Muhammad ibn Humayd? And he said, I know khair about him. It says in the narration Tarikh Baghdad that they did small talk. Then they said to him, Shaykh, this narrator, what do you know about him? And they say, praise him. They said, Shaykh, look, we followed up his ahadith and whatnot. He did this, he did that, he did this, he did that. He's a liar. So Imam Ahmed said, when he heard all those narrations that they mentioned, the evidence that they had, he said, he moved his hands like that. And in the Kutub Jarh, what they say, what does that mean? It basically means he left him. And it's like, away with him. So his praise is now gone. You can't use his praise anymore. And he's taken now what the other ulama mentioned. Ahlul Ray had an ijma' that he was matruk. Yahya ibn Ma'in that used to praise him, he even said, when he heard from Abu Zur'a and the other scholars, he said, I didn't know that. He goes, okay, Jazakallah khair. They left him. Now they left him because of the extra knowledge that they had. Imam Ahmed was praising him yesterday, but when he died, he was not praising him. So Imam Ahmed got it wrong. Sheikh Rabi' or any of the other ulama, Sheikh Abdul Muhsin Abbad, Sheikh Fawzan, all of the ulama that we love, they can praise someone today, they can refute them tomorrow. They can die and they left them praising him. But if there's other qara'in to show us that this person's X, Y, and Z, then we take the qara'in. And vice versa. They might dispraise someone and they got it wrong.
Yeah.
Actually, he wasn't supposed to be like that. He's actually like this, and that happened to Imam Ahmed as well.
Yeah.